Chapter 2156, Heaven Extremity Gai Mei. Savage wilderness, great world. A grand and ancient dark gold palace floated in the sky. It was Lux Suppression Heavenly Palace. Within the palace, Bing Sichuan sat on a cushion with one information path, immortal Gu, on the tiny table in front of him. Several Gu immortals were standing towards his left and right. Bing Sichuan stared at the information path, immortal Gu. He frowned slightly. Fang Yuan and Lu Weiyin came together. It created a huge uncertainty in the battle of the three great worlds. What should longevity heaven, which occupied savage wilderness great world, do? Should they retreat first or send more people to probe Fang Yuan's strength? Bing Sichuan could not decide immediately. He thought for a while and cast his gaze towards the first person on his left. A fatty was sitting there. The fatty was lying down on the table, fast asleep. There was even saliva flowing out of his mouth, onto his sleeves and the table below. Bam, bam, bam. Bing Sichuan knocked on the table with his knuckles several times. The fatty was woken up by this noise. He opened his sleepy eyes and asked in a daze, "What happened?" Bing Sichuan withheld his anger. "Gai Mei, you are the heaven extremity. You cultivate wisdom path. The newest information is here. I want you to deduce what our following actions should be." Saying this, the information path, immortal Gu, flew and landed on the fatty's head. The fatty did not use his hand to touch it. He looked into the immortal Gu directly. His pupils shrank immediately. "What? That demon Fang Yuan is here." The fatty shrugged. "See, weren't my previous deductions correct?" Bing Sichuan knocked on the table again. "I want you to deduce what action our side should take for this situation. Originally, Yellow Earth Great World was weak. With our control over Savage Wilderness Great World and Heavenly Court's control over Green Lotus Great World, we could invade Yellow Earth Great World and strengthen ourselves before deciding the victor between us. But now that Lu Weiyin and Fang Yuan appeared in Yellow Earth Great World, if we attack it by force, they might counterattack and expend our strength instead." Bing Sichuan was not afraid of Fang Yuan's counterattack. He was worried about the impact on the overall situation instead. After all, the current situation was more complex than before. The three worlds were resisting each other. If any two forces went ahead and fought too intensely, the third force would benefit. Then let me deduce it. The fatty Gu immortal, Heaven Extremity Gai Mei, waved his loose sleeves and stretched out 5 fat fingers. He pretended to make a deduction. "Oh, I deduced it. Let's follow our original plan," Gai Mei said. Bing Sichuan watched with a dumbfounded expression. "Can you use your immortal Gu to activate a killer move and make a proper deduction?" Gai Mei blinked innocently. "What? How did you know I was pretending? You actually found out. You are so smart. You must be the wisdom path cultivator instead, right?" Veins bulged on Bing Sichuan's forehead. "Do you think you are Southern Borders Wu Yong? You have no methods to conceal your aura. Hurry up and make a deduction." Gai Mei waved his wide sleeves again, exposing his 5 fat fingers. He was about to make a deduction when he suddenly sighed. "Sigh. Forget it. The killer move is too tiring to activate. Why don't we just ask our Lord Ancestor instead?" Bing Sichuan was livid with anger. He shouted, "Absolutely not. Our Lord is working with Earth Extremity, Black Extremity, and Space Extremity to deduce Limitless Demon Venerable's plot. How can we disturb him? Currently, Heavenly Court already has the initiative. They obtained Book Mountain. We are relying on our Lord to have any hope of catching up to Heavenly Court. Heaven Extremity, can't you see the big picture?" Gai Mei pouted unhappily. "Stop calling me Heaven Extremity all the time. I didn't even want to be Heaven Extremity. You guys forced it on me." Yellow Extremity Jiao Hua, who was sitting beside Gai Mei, tried to convince him. "Brother Gai, just help out and make the deductions. This is not just about the strength of Yellow Earth Great World. It also concerns Fang Yuan's possible actions. This demon Fang Yuan has no regard for his identity as a human. I am more worried that he might relocate the local Gu immortals of Yellow Earth Great World and the ones he captures from our forces into the sovereign immortal aperture. Look at what he did in the 5 regions. He recruited the variant humans to become his subordinates and almost rejected nobody. In my opinion, it is likely he would do this. In that case, it might foil our Lord's plans." Jiao Hua spoke, trying his best to convince Gai Mei, but he still shook his head, smiling instead. "Actually, You guys don't have to be so worried. Isn't Heavenly Court just as worried as us? Let's see what Heavenly Court is doing now, wouldn't that do? They are guarded by star constellation Immortal Venerable. She is the #1 wisdom path expert in history. She is definitely better than me at deductions. Jiao Hua's expression froze. Even so, if Heavenly Court deduces first, they will gain the initiative. If we join them in their plan, we will fall behind them. Regardless, I am not going to work. Guy Mei rolled his eyes as he went back to sleep on the table. Jiao Hua and Bing Sichuan stared at him angrily, but he completely ignored them. Charge with me. Force back all of these enemies. Charge. Thousands of Gu masters engaged in battle on the ground. The front lines looked disorderly. Blood flowed everywhere. The sky was the battlefield for Gu immortals as they fought. More than 10 Gu immortals engaged in a chaotic battle at once on the ground. Yellow Earth Great World's Gu Master Army launched a powerful counterattack, while in the sky, Yellow Earth Great World's Gu immortals were suppressed. Yellow Earth Great World Sage had already descended. The Gu Masters were spirited and motivated, but in the battle between Gu immortals, morale alone could not make up for their difference in strength. After all, Yellow Earth Great World had fewer Gu immortals than Green Lotus Great World. This could not be helped. The 3 Great Worlds were made one after another. Savage Wilderness Great World had the longest history, but it had a lot of internal conflict over the years. Green Lotus Great World was second, while Yellow Earth Great World was the most recent. After all, Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable was the most recent Venerable. Yellow Earth Great World had very few Gu immortals to begin with. It was even attacked by the joint force of 2 other worlds. They had fewer and fewer Gu immortals gradually. The situation was dire. Our sages have arrived. There is still hope. I will defend Yellow Earth Great World. I will defend my homeland. The Gu immortals of Yellow Earth Great World shouted together, raising their morale. Green Lotus side laughed coldly. Even if your sages arrive, they cannot stop us from killing you guys. You have sages, but so do we. The result of this battle will not change. We don't want to do this too, but we have orders from our sage. We need to kill all of you and devour all the worlds to prevent the apocalypse from happening. The Green Lotus Gu immortals continued to attack. Yellow Earth's Gu immortals were specialized in defense. Even though the situation was dangerous, they were barely able to hold the line, struggling at the brink of defeat. Right at this time, from the huge tunnel connecting Yellow Earth Great World and Green Lotus Great World, 2 armies appeared. They were led by the Gu immortals Qing Haozi and Mu Chalang. Immortal Killer Move. Spring upon withered tree, Mu Chalang shouted as green leaves appeared all over its entire tree body. The new leaves flew out and landed on the Green Lotus Gu immortals. The Green Lotus Gu immortals were not severely injured to begin with. Their large injuries became small, while their small injuries healed completely. The condition of the Green Lotus Gu immortals improved immediately. Immortal Killer Move. Green Life Taker. Qing Haozi flew with extreme speed, creating a green trail in the sky, piercing the body of a Yellow Earth Gu immortal, the Yellow Earth Great World's Gu immortal was a black bear. It grabbed its empty chest. After gasping, it fell to the ground. The Yellow Earth Gu immortals were anguished. After dealing the fatal blow, Qing Haozi looked at these Gu immortals arrogant and said, "The Sacred Mountain gave orders. You will all die." Mu Chalang laughed loudly. "So what if your sage is here? The eventual victor will only be our Green Lotus Great World." At the same time, in another battlefield, Savage Wilderness Great World's main forces were fighting against another group of Yellow Earth Great World inhabitants. Die, die, die. A 6-legged black tiger that was as large as a mountain charged around in the sky. It managed to grab a Yellow Earth Great World Gu immortal. "I finally caught you." The 6-legged black tiger laughed and exerted force with both claws. Swoosh. With a soft sound, the giant-like Yellow Earth Gu immortal was torn into 2 by the 6-legged black tiger, dying on the spot. "Ha!" The 6-legged black tiger laughed loudly. The giant's blood spurted all over its face. The tiger licked and showed a maniacal and bloodthirsty expression. Little Rock Monarch was killed by He Lu Biao. "Let's retreat. We are not these people's match." "Indeed, our sage has already arrived. Let's return and ask him to take charge of us." The Gu Master armies were still fighting on the ground. But in the sky, yellow earth great worlds Gu immortals had lost their fighting spirit. They wanted to retreat. Suddenly, there was an eagle cry as white light flashed in the sky. Everyone turned to look. They saw a snow-winged eagle pecking a yellow earth Gu immortal and devouring him whole. Shweli do. He ate another person. The yellow earth Gu immortals were furious and shocked. Snow-winged eagle Shweli do said in a shrill voice. Escape? Don't even think of running. The morale of the yellow earth Gu immortals collapsed at once. At Paradise Earth's sacred tomb. King Kula greets both sages. Big Rock Monarch greets both sages. We implore you, please save our yellow earth great world. A group of Gu immortals knelt on the ground. They were either beasts or plants. Some even had peculiar forms. Some seemed like they had been formed from casually molded clay. Some were like children's doodles. There were no pure humans. These yellow earth Gu immortals were all injured. Some had severe injuries, on the brink of death. But because of the commotion that Fang Yuan and Lu Weiyin caused when they arrived, these sick and injured Gu immortals came over. Fang Yuan took a glance at them, seeing a familiar person. This was a giant gray fish. It resembled a goldfish but had the size of a whale. When Fang Yuan first entered the 8th layer, he met with this fish and forcefully enslaved it. It was named Little Flower. Right now, as Little Flower saw Fang Yuan, it was very excited and wanted to say something, but in this situation, it chose to control its emotions as the timing was inappropriate. Fang Yuan nodded, saying, I wanted to see the ones behind Green Lotus Dao Field as well. Lord Fang Yuan, you cannot attack rashly. Lu Weiyin suddenly transmitted. Fang Yuan looked at Lu Weiyin with a peculiar gaze, seemingly saying, Didn't you invite me here because of my battle strength? Chapter 2157, Rushing Forward Together. Lu Weiyin secretly transmitted as he explained in detail. Lord Fang Yuan, you may not know this. Because of your high battle strength, it will trigger a retaliative method from Limitless Demon Venerable. After our obvious arrival, why did Heavenly Court send more troops to provoke us? It was to probe our strength and try to lure you into attacking, which would be the best outcome for them. What are the details about this? Fang Yuan asked. Lu Weiyin smiled bitterly. I'm not sure about the exact situation, but I know that Limitless Demon Venerable exerted huge effort to create Crazed Demon Cave back then. It was to make derivations regarding the heavenly Tao, to find the true path of eternal life. At this point in time, the arrangement is finally about to reveal the result and bear fruit. The current 8th layer void is contracting and shrinking now. All the various worlds are lured to the center, fusing into or annexing each other, until only one great world is left in the end. And this great world might be the result of Limitless Demon Venerable's derivation. It might contain the answer to eternal life. If we attack abruptly and cause a huge commotion in battle, we may disrupt the eventual derivation of Crazed Demon Cave. Limitless Demon Venerable's method will immediately activate to deal with us. That will incur an unfavorable loss to our side. Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven will be happy to see that happen. If we end up suffering mutual losses with Limitless Demon Venerable's method, we will be less threatening to them, while Limitless Demon Venerable's method will also be exposed. They will be able to discern information about it. Fang Yuan pondered. In that case, we can only make a move when the final great world is formed? Then why would Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven come here early to take charge of their respective great worlds? Lu Weiyin explained patiently. More precisely, only people with battle strength like yours cannot make a move. I am still able to take action here. If our side can control Yellow Earth Great World and emerge victorious, we will have the upper hand in the final battle. When the final great world is created, the amount of control we have over it will determine our gains. Thus, we need to invade more worlds and devour them to expand our territory. After his transmission, Fang Yuan finally understood the situation. Currently, he could not take action. Once he took action and caused a big commotion, he would disrupt Crazed Demon Cave's final derivation. It would trigger the retaliative method of Limitless Demon Venerable. Of course, Fang Yuan could suppress his strength to take action, but there was no need to. Suppressing his strength would mean that Fang Yuan was about as strong as other Gu immortals. He might be slightly superior, but that would not have an impact on the overall situation. In fact, After making many moves, Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven would gain information about his methods. He would even waste his luck in advance. Thus, Lu Wei-yin invited Fang Yuan over mainly to deal with the final eventual battle. Once the final world was formed, Fang Yuan, Star Constellation, and Longevity Heaven might have equal battle strength. They would fight it out for the final fruit in Crazed Demon Cave that time. They would fight for real. Before that, Lu Wei-yin could still make a move. He was pseudo-venerable battle strength only in terms of defense, to try to make Yellow Earth Great World the victor of this war. This would have significant impact on the final battle. If Lu Wei-yin could succeed, Fang Yuan would gain the initiative later. Even if Yellow Earth Great World cannot win in this battle, we cannot let the other two worlds gain too much of a lead. As long as we defend the sacred tomb, during the final battle, Lord Paradise Earth will be able to revive successfully. By then, our battle strength will reign above the other two forces. Lu Wei-yin explained his meticulously crafted plan to Fang Yuan. The conclusion was to defend now and counterattack later. Defending their base initially, while stirring conflict in secret, to make Savage Wilderness Great World and Green Lotus Great World fight each other and expend their strength, to make sure the three forces were eventually matched in the the later stage. After Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable revives, he would gain Fang Yuan's support and use their superior battle strength to gain victory over the others. This was a logical arrangement to bide for time. It suited Lu Wei-yin's nature. But this was not Fang Yuan's style. Fang Yuan looked at the kneeling Yellow Earth Gu immortals before turning to Lu Wei-yin, smiling. Taking hits passively is not how I do things. Since we cannot use our top battle strength easily, it means that Heavenly Court is taking advantage of the fact that we lack subordinates. In that case, Fang Yuan smiled as he looked towards Green Lotus Dao Field. Everyone, come outside. Saying so, he opened his immortal aperture's entrance. Whoosh, 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 a large number of Gu immortals flew out. We pay respects to Master. Dozens of Gu immortals greeted at once. Their voices were thunderously loud. All of the Gu immortals had evident excitement on their faces. The details are listed on the mission board. Go. Fang Yuan waved his hand casually. Swoosh, swoosh. These Gu immortals immediately split into two groups, charging towards the two battlefields. The kneeling Yellow Earth Gu immortals were dumbfounded. How did so many Gu immortals appear at once? These people seem to be calling that handsome sage master. We are saved. Yellow Earth Great World is saved. After the Yellow Earth Gu immortal reacted, they all relaxed, and some even wept in joy. Not just them. Even Lu Wei-yin was shocked. He had seen Fang Yuan dispatching variant human Gu immortals all over southern border to collect mountains. He also knew that Fang Yuan led the variant human alliance. His force was not small, but after seeing the main force that Fang Yuan sent out, Lu Wei-yin was filled with shock. So many Gu immortals, they numbered to over 50. And from their aura, there are 18 rank 8 Gu immortals. The rest are all rank 7 Gu immortals. How can there be so many rank 8 Gu immortals? The rank 7 Gu immortals also have surging auras. They are close to the realm of rank 8 already. No, there is no way Fang Yuan has 0 rank 6 Gu immortals. This means that these Gu immortals are not his entire force. That's right, Fang Yuan's clone Wu Shui has not showed up either. As Lu Wei-yin analyzed, the disbelief in his heart intensified. He also felt worried. Did Fang Yuan spend all of his recent time nurturing these subordinates? According to his personality, he should not be this unwise. Also, even though these Gu immortals are high in number and have high cultivation level, who knows how high their actual battle strength is? The ones that Lu Wei-yin was confident in were Xiao He Jian and Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch. Front lines. Go and die. Qing Hao Zi killed another Yellow Earth Gu immortal. But its injuries were not light either. It had to temporarily stop its movement and go to Mu Chaolang. After Mu Chaolang's healing killer move was used, Qing Hao Zi recovered greatly. This is all thanks to you, my old friend. Qing Hao Zi was overjoyed, Mu Chaolang said in admiration. This is all I am skilled at. I feel admiration towards your ability to kill so many people. But don't be too rash and forget your defense. The final struggle of these Yellow Earth Gu immortals will not be simple to heal if you get hit. Don't worry. Qinghao raised its bamboo tail. I will try to kill 4 people. Hey, you guys should calm down. Leave some for me to kill. Qinghao called out loudly as it entered the battlefield again. Right at this time, a group of Gu immortals flew over from the sky. They were led by rank 8 snowman Gu immortal, ice crystal immortal monarch that he shouted. We are the subordinates of Yellow Earth Sage, Fang Yuan. We are here to help and kill the Green Lotus Gu immortals. The Gu immortals were stunned. The Yellow Earth Gu immortals who were in deep peril saw hope. They became overjoyed. The Green Lotus Gu immortals started to feel their hearts pounding wildly. It could not be helped. Together with Mu Cha Lang and Qinghao, they only had 8 people. But there were over 20 Gu immortal reinforcements. Among them, there were 9 rank 8 Gu immortals. On Green Lotus side, only Mu Cha Lang, Qinghao, and Old Forest Moss had rank 8 cultivation level that weren't their reinforcements simply too large. Mu Cha Lang gritted its teeth, shouting, "Don't be scared by numbers. Who knows what their actual battle strength is?" The Green Lotus Gu immortals regained their morale upon hearing this. That's right. Cultivation level was just part of the battle strength. Only by fighting could their true strength be seen, that if they did not even dare to fight and retreated immediately, how would they face the sages on the sacred mountain? The Green Lotus Gu immortals disregarded the Yellow Earth Gu immortals. They faced Ice Crystal Immortal Monarchs group instead. Immortal Killer Move, Snow Avalanche. Immortal Killer Move, Crashing Rock Slide. Immortal Killer Move, Great Earth Collapse. Immortal Killer Move, Refine Life. Immortal Killer Move, Multi-layered 5 poisons. Bam, 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 bam. The Yellow Earth Gu immortals who were disregarded opened their mouths in shock as they watched. The moment they fought, Ice Crystal Immortal Monarchs group erupted with their full strength. All sorts of killer moves were sent out like fireworks. The commotion was huge, resounding in heaven and earth. Green Lotus group also unleashed killer moves, but the quantity was lower. Their strength was also largely inferior. Only after just 1 round, the Green Lotus Gu immortals faced a terrible loss. Retreat! Quickly retreat! Old Forest Moss shouted. How can this be? The other side has so many rank 8 immortal Gu. Qinghao shouted he had become a rank 8 Gu immortal long ago, but he had never obtained a rank 8 immortal Gu. In this life, he had not even seen 3 rank 8 immortal Gu, but Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch was quite unsatisfied. He scolded, "Don't launch a barrage like this. It is very wasteful, understand?" The moves conflicted with each other. Half of it was wasted. Only 30% landed on the enemies. Find your individual targets and don't let them escape. Even though the first round had huge commotion, a lot of the move's strength was wasted. The outside world was not the sovereign immortal aperture after all. Thus, the Green Lotus Gu immortals managed to survive. But the first round of combat gave them huge gains too. The Green Lotus Gu immortals were completely scared and lost their morale. They wanted to retreat now. But Ice Crystal Immortal Monarchs group had advantage in number. They dispersed and encircled the enemies. Battle resumed. The Green Lotus Gu immortals were soon beaten up harshly. They were battered and bruised. These Gu immortals have an absurdly perfect set of immortal Gu. Qinghao shouted. We can only focus on one aspect, but all of them have superb healing methods. Mu Cha Lang said bitterly. They have too many killer moves. They are all incredible methods. Other Gu immortals shouted. Fang Yuan's refinement path attainment was #1 in the world. Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven could only look at him in admiration. After obtaining a vast number of immortal materials from the various grotto heavens, compared to other forces, Fang Yuan had the highest number of immortal Gu in the world. Chapter 2158. Too brutal. Immortal Gu were unique. Immortal Gu were the most fundamental. After sovereign immortal apertures Gu immortals obtained immortal Gu, they were also able to easily exchange for corresponding killer moves. Even though they lost some Dao marks, these gains were simply too immense, completely negating the flaw of fewer Dao marks that a moment later, the Green Lotus Gu immortals ran with all their strength. Only 3 rank 8s escaped. The rest were all killed by Ice Crystal Immortal Monarchs group. Without a battlefield killer move, we cannot kill Gu immortals efficiently. Feng Yuan's side cannot kill efficiently. The Yellow Earth Gu immortals looked at the 5 corpses on the ground. their hearts beating wildly. Too timid, too timid. Shizong sighed in pity. They actually ran away. They are a disgrace to all rank 8s. The Yellow Earth Goo immortals looked at each other and transmitted secretly. Even if I have rank 8 cultivation level, I would have ran away in this situation too. How can we face our master with just these results? Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch gritted his teeth, making a decision. Chase. We will pursue and kill them. The Yellow Earth Goo immortal were shocked. They quickly urged, everyone, don't be too rash. There are still a number of Green Lotus rank 8 Goo immortals. They did not join the battle. Indeed, we barely managed to win this fight. We should go on the defense instead. Green Lotus Great World has many immortal Goo houses with terrifying strength. Many Goo immortals were killed on the spot because of their rampage. Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch was completely unmoved. He looked at the Yellow Earth Goo immortals indifferently. We are the subordinates of Sage Guyu Fang Yuan. We only obey his orders. You can all stay and clean up the battlefield. Be it the immortal Goo or immortal apertures of these fallen Goo immortals, Ice Crystal Immortal Monarchs group did not take any. That was Fang Yuan's order. The Goo immortals and immortal Goo that belonged here were part of Limitless Demon Venerable's derivation results. Killing these Goo immortals would promote the fusion of the great worlds at the same time in another battlefield. Xiao Hejian and the rest arrived before He Lu Biao and Xue Li Du. So many reinforcements. Wonderful, we're saved. There were only 2 Yellow Earth Goo immortals left. Be careful. These 2 are powerful rank 8 experts from Savage Wilderness Great World. They are very strong. They are specialized in noisy. Xiao Hejian took charge as the leader. He shouted and interrupted the advice of the Yellow Earth Goo immortals. This Miniman Goo immortal's eyes seemed to be glowing red. He pointed at the mountain-like 6-legged black tiger and shouted, "This guy belongs to me. I will fight anyone who contests with me." Roar. He Lu Biao was triggered. Tiny little bug. You are going to die. I will kill you. No Goo immortal had ever treated me with such an attitude. He Lu Biao charged in a frenzy towards Xiao Hejian. The Yellow Earth Goo immortals were deeply scared and shocked. Numbers do not determine everything. Xue Li Du also smiled coldly, charging into the Goo immortal group. Bam, 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 bam. An array of fireworks erupted. It was a beautiful sight. Bam, with a loud sound. He Lu Biao crashed onto the ground, creating a huge and deep crater. It stared with wide eyes, struggling to get up. Boom. Xiao Hejian flew like a meteor, charging down. Behind him were 5 to 6 rank 8 Goo immortals. They also attacked. Bam, 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 bam. The ground shook intensely. Dust clouds rose, almost covering the rays of the sun. With an intense wind that swept by, the dust clouds were dispersed. The crater was even deeper now. He Lu Biao was lying at the bottom of the crater, holding on to its last breath. Its 6 tiger claws were twitching. I told you guys not to interfere. Xiao Hejian shouted. On what basis? Whoever kills it gets the contribution points. The other Goo immortals shouted in retaliation. Xiao Hejian rolled his eyes. We all attacked, so who killed him? Who can be sure of it? Easy, we can split up the contribution points. Whoever gets the largest part of the corpse will get the most points. Nobody knew who was the one who suggested this, but at the very next moment, the rank 8 Goo immortals flew down into the pit, splitting up the corpse of He Lu Biao. The leg is mine. Humph, I only got a tail. Give me back the butt. Head, this tiger head, ha, it is mine. The rank 8 Goo immortals shouted loudly. Some were happy while others were dejected. Those who did not get enough body parts directed their gaze towards Snow-Wing Eagle Xue Li Du, but Xue Li Du had been killed already. It died even earlier than He Lu Biao. The corpse was also completely split up between the Goo immortals. The Yellow Earth Goo immortals watched in a daze. Too brutal. Too brutal. Weren't these Goo immortals the subordinates of the sage? Why were they so brutal? Not only did they kill the Goo immortal, they even dissected the corpse. And they were so happy when dissecting the corpse. Too brutal. Too vicious. Yellow Earth Great World was created by Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. His ideal was to live in harmony and peace, emphasizing on unity and love. Even though Yellow Earth Great World had its own internal conflicts, the main trend had always been the same. The action of Fang Yuan's subordinates was completely the opposite of Yellow Earth Great World. This was a huge contrast to the expectations of these Yellow Earth Goo Immortals. There are some Goo Immortals left. The Rank 8 Goo Immortals' eyes flashed, but those Rank 7 Goo Immortals quickly shouted, "Before coming here, we already decided that the Rank 7s belong to us. You Rank 8s already took the bulk of the gains. Shouldn't you leave some to us?" The Rank 8 Goo Immortals pouted. "Then hurry up, don't waste time. Otherwise, we will help you out and take a portion of the contribution points." Wishful thinking. The Rank 7 Goo Immortals quickly exerted effort and killed all of the Savage Wilderness Great World Goo Immortals in a moment's time. Ha! These Goo Immortals are so stupid, none of them ran away. Indeed, I was afraid that we lacked a battlefield killer move and could not stop them from escaping. The Goo Immortals started to discuss heatedly. The two Yellow Earth Goo Immortals looked at each other. They had peculiar expressions. The Goo Immortals of Savage Wilderness Great World were combat maniacs. Their ferocity was always the thing that made Yellow Earth Great World and Green Lotus Great World's Goo Immortals wary. Savage Wilderness Great World's Goo Immortals would rather fight to the death than retreat. They were courageous maniacs who did not care about their own lives when they were in combat. But in the perspective of the sage's subordinates, they were stupid. How much did you snatch? I only got this much. Hell, only? You earned a lot. Hee hee, it was all thanks to Master who handed out such a lucrative mission. The Goo Immortals collated their gains as they tossed away the corpses in their hands. Fang Yuan had given specific instructions, be it immortal aperture, body, or immortal goo. They were all to be thrown away. These subordinates did not dare to defy him. Seeing the scattered corpses, the two Yellow Earth Goo Immortals' eyelids twitched. If you were going to throw them away, why snatch them with such intensity earlier? Was it just for fun? What sort of monsters were these Goo Immortals? The two Yellow Earth Goo Immortals who had just mustered up courage to express their gratitude instantly lost all motivation to do so. They breathed in deeply and wanted to speak, but suddenly, Xiao Hejian's group's expression changed. Master sent orders. We need to gather with the other group and attack Green Lotus Great World. Go, let's go. Don't let Ice Crystal Immortal Monarchs group gain the initiative. Swoosh swoosh. The Goo Immortals left rapidly in a hurry, leaving the two Yellow Earth Goo Immortals who stayed behind with a dazed expression on their faces. They looked at the Goo Master battlefield that was still fighting. Yellow Earth Goo Masters were already moving forward and pursuing the enemies. They felt completely lost for words. For some reason, they started to feel pity for the Green Lotus Great World's Goo Immortals. Fang Yuan watched from afar, capturing the scenes of the two battlefields. With his eyes, after those Goo Immortal corpses landed on the ground, they were quickly absorbed into the world. Immortal apertures disintegrated rapidly. The Goo worms inside faced the same end. There was no winds of assimilation produced. No traces were left at all. Fang Yuan was not feeling calm internally. This is the profundity of refinement path. Except that limitless demon venerable is not refining immortal goo. He is refining the entire world. If I want to become venerable on the path of refinement, this is an aspect that I lack as well. In his later years, limitless demon venerable wanted to break free from fate and obtain the way to attain eternal life, but he could not find an answer from heavenly court of that time. Thus, he created Crazed Demon Cave. He decided to use his own method and derive the method of eternal life. After all, Fate Goo was still around back then, completely intact. The unified great world that was formed in the end might be the result of his plan. It might contain the method of eternal life. And now, the fighting and slaughter of these Goo cultivators became the fuel and sacrifice for this derivation. After understanding this, Fang Yuan would not take the corpses of these Goo immortals or their immortal Goo. This huge battle between worlds was definitely going to have countless dead Goo cultivators, be it mortal or immortal, as for how many could survive in the end. Would there be thousands, or just one person? Nobody knew, but so what if that was the case? Be it Fang Yuan, Lu Wei-yin, Heavenly Court, and Longevity Heaven. They did not care about that answer. They had their own objectives. The Goo immortals born here obeyed the orders of their sages. They fought and killed, using their lives and wits to resist the others. They were necessary sacrifices that were determined from the start. Fang Yuan casted his gaze towards Green Lotus Great World. He saw that his army had gathered and invaded Green Lotus Great World. If an outsider Gu immortal died here, what would happen? Fang Yuan had a calm gaze as he watched with anticipation. These Gu immortals were just his pawns after all. When it was time to sacrifice them, Fang Yuan would not be stingy to do so. But I should prevent unnecessary deaths if possible. Thinking so, Fang Yuan said to Lu Weiyin, "Friend Lu, I would like you to go and help out my subordinates. If the situation turns dangerous, your life is the highest priority. You can ignore the rest if necessary." Lu Weiyin nodded and he flew away. Fang Yuan's subordinates were so ferocious. Lu Weiyin was quite pleased and surprised at the same time. He agreed with Fang Yuan's plan. They were already behind to begin with. Having such a large force, they had to work hard and catch up to the rest to make up for their difference. Savage Wilderness Great World. Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace. Bing Sichuan looked at the information path Immortal Gu on the table with a grim expression. To think that Fang Yuan's force is so powerful. He Lu Biao and Shueli Du are powerful rank 8 experts in Savage Wilderness Great World. They actually died so easily. But now, Fang Yuan's 2 groups have gathered to attack Green Lotus Dao Field. Saying so, Bing Sichuan let out a breath of turbid air, feeling emotions of joy and gladness. He was glad that he did not send reinforcements, because Heavenly Court sent more troops against Fang Yuan. He sent his army to find trouble with them. Chapter 2159, Fairy Ming Hao. That's why I said we should continue with our previous plan. My deduction was not wrong. Heaven Extremity Guy Mei drank wine and ate snacks while saying shamelessly. Bing Sichuan could not be bothered to retort him. He looked at the rest. Fang Yuan has such a huge force. It is very unexpected. If he attacks us, we will land in a passive spot. Even though Savage Wilderness Great World has the most Gu immortals, most of them have their own intentions. They do not obey orders. If we could unify and rule them, we would have been the #1 world long ago. Suppressing Heavenly Court. Heaven Extremity rolled his eyes. Don't you know the reason? That Yellow Earth Great World was the arrangement of Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable to begin with. Green Lotus Great World is also created by Heavenly Court's Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. Meanwhile, Savage Wilderness Great World was made by Reckless Savage Demon Venerable, but our Lord obtained it. Without a proper relationship, how can we convince them? Bing Sichuan could not help but tap on the table. Forget about the reason. Let's try to deal with the current problem. Do you guys have any good ideas to recruit those Savage Gu immortals? Green Lotus Great World. Once in a while, an information path Gu worm flew over. Qin Ding Ling was frowning deeper. Fang Yuan's subordinates are so ferocious. In just half a day, not only did they defeat our main troops, they even invaded and broke 3 of our defense lines. We've already lost close to 20 Gu immortals. The defeated rank 8 Gu immortals have suffered huge injuries. They came to the mountain to seek an audience with the sage. Oh, the third seat Fairy Ming Hao showed an expression of curiosity. As expected of Fang Yuan, I guess. To think that he is skilled at nurturing subordinates too. After pausing for a moment, Fairy Ming Hao asked in a childlike voice. This means to say that Longevity Heaven also sent more troops out. Yes. Qin Dingling nodded. After sensing that Fang Yuan gathered his groups to attack us, Longevity Heaven immediately sent more people to stall Lady Yushio's group. This might be the scene that Fang Yuan wants to see. Fairy Ming Hao laughed heartily. Since they want to attack us, let them come. Withdraw our defense lines. Let them come and attack us. Yes. Qin Dingling immediately ordered and reorganized the troops without a hint of questioning. Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch and Xiao Hejian moved unhindered. They charged all the way until the center of Green Lotus Great World, below the sacred mountain. Looking at the mountain, they saw that it had a peculiar appearance. The entire mountain was black and white. All of the mountain rocks looked like they were drawn with black lines and filled with patches of white paper. All of the life forms on the mountain were also altered. They were all white paper people that were drawn with black lines that a tiny white paper person flew down from the mountain. After leaving the area of the sacred mountain, she turned back into flesh and blood, looking like a cute and innocent young girl. Xiao Hejian and Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch looked at each other. feeling that the situation was not simple. The latter half of their trip was unhindered. That made them uneasy already. And after reaching the enemy's headquarters, they only sent one rank 8 Gu immortal. This was Heavenly Court. No matter how weak they became, they had those rank 8 Gu immortals who escaped earlier at least right. Why did they send a little girl? Even though Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch and Xiao Hejian had surging momentum, they were already feeling uneasy internally. This army was mainly made up of people from the two heavens grotto heavens. They had spent most of their lives hiding in the grotto heaven, living a life of trepidation and fear, afraid that the 5 regions humans would discover them, that if Fang Yuan did not have such demonic might that suppressed them, and also with the huge increase in their strength and confidence during these few fights, they would not dare to attack with such intensity in their previous state. What do we do now? Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch and Xiao Hejian transmitted their thoughts, sending out one person to test the enemy's strength. This Gu Immortal was Ku Xian Hong, that he cultivated Poison Path, and was the strongest expert of the Mushroom Man Gu Immortals. Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch and Xiao Hejian did not choose their own members, they chose him instead. After all, the Mushroom Men were the last group that joined Fang Yuan. They did not join the current major factions. Thus, as the seniors, Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch and Xiao Hejian worked together to target them. And truthfully, many people were jealous of Xian Hong recently. He had the most envoy missions. He was almost the sole beneficiary of these missions that could gain huge rewards by just talking. Many Gu Immortals were jealous. Xian Hong took in a deep breath, stepping forward and facing Fairy Ming Hao. Brilliance shined in his eyes. He had soaring fighting spirit. On one hand, after many envoy missions, he gained a lot of animosity from the rest. He needed to prove himself through combat. On the other hand, he wanted to use this chance to make a huge contribution, to make sure the Mushroom Man tribe was the #1 faction in Fang Yuan's subordinate force. He would be able to protect his tribesmen in the future. Our Mushroom Man tribe joined Master the latest. We are naturally ostracized by the senior members. Even though we want to establish a good relationship with Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch and Xiao Hejian, it seems that Master does not want to see that. Why did Master give me envoy missions time and again? He might not have planned this from the start, but as time went on, his intentions became increasingly deep. Master has a total of 2 factions under him. They are the variant humans and the humans. There are fewer humans, forget about them now. There are far more variant humans instead, led by Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch and Xiao Hejian. These 2 groups are getting larger and more influential. As time passes, they will definitely clash over benefits. Because of their large influence, Master will not be able to control them easily. Thus, from the start, Master did not want us Mushroom Men to join them. The reason why Master gave me envoy missions time and again is to help our Mushroom Man tribe gain power and sow discord between the variant human forces. Ku Xian Hong sighed internally. The longer he joined Fang Yuan, the more he felt Fang Yuan's unfathomably deep schemes, as well as his experienced political skills and methods. Xian Hong had already expected Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch and Xiao Hejian to ostracize him in such situations. He calmed his mind and collected all his scattered thoughts. He gathered his spirits and looked at the young girl, cupping his fists. I am Ku Xian Hong. I would like to exchange pointers with you. The young girl smiled. I am Fairy Ming Hao, Ku Xian Hong. I know about you. Is your poison path method used like this? Saying so, Ming Hao moved her tiny arm as poisonous fluid flew out. Each lump of yellowish-brown poisonous fluid flew into the air and turned into a goose. Soon, an army of poisonous geese danced around in the sky, changing their formation constantly. Xian Hong was shook internally. This is my uniquely created method. Why can she use it? Is she also a poison path Gu Immortal? But why can she use my unique method? Ku Xian Hong stabilized his mind. Fairy Ming Hao, that is an amazing method. But this move has a variation move. Watch. Saying so, Ku Xian Hong used the same poison path killer move. After the geese were formed, they cried out as poison seeped out wherever their voices reached. Ming Hao's eyes shined. She moved her poisonous geese to fight them as she observed carefully. After a few breaths of time, she smiled and laughed. So that's how it is. Look, is this how the move works? Saying so, She activated Xian Hong's variation move and caused her own geese group to cry out as well. What? This time, not only was Xian Hong shocked, even the other subordinates were shook. Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch and Xiao Hejian thought to themselves, this immortal is very strange. She can mimic other people's killer moves. But she only has rank 8 cultivation level. Our army is huge. How can we falter to one person? The two of them had similar thoughts. They immediately ordered and led the other immortals to get around Ming Hao and attack the sacred mountain behind her. Fairy Ming Hao sighed. Oh, you guys, can't you play along? Why are you in such a rush? Saying so, her aura surged as she resonated with the sacred mountain behind her. Next, the sacred mountain made of black lines and white paper shot out profound lights that had countless killer moves flying out of them. Fang Yuan's subordinates were busy resisting the attacks. Bam, bam, bam. After an intense clash of killer moves, Fang Yuan's subordinates' attacks were all dealt with. Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch and Xiao Hejian showed expressions of shock. What killer move is this? It can actually mimic all of the killer moves that we used earlier. This mountain is not normal. It is not just a famous mountain. It is a secluded domain of heaven and earth. Is this the legendary book mountain recorded in The Legends of Renzu? Fairy Ming Hao chuckled. This killer move was casually created by me. It uses humility goo as the core. It is called humble reciprocation. This move can use the information recorded on Book Mountain to deduce and unleash the killer moves that you use. Every killer move that you use is a present for me. Thank you very much. Is that really Book Mountain? Humble reciprocation? That is clearly a human path killer move. Fang Yuan's subordinates were shook internally. They attacked again. But Fairy Ming Hao unleashed humble reciprocation killer move again, dealing with all of their offenses. Fang Yuan had many subordinates, but they were all stopped by one person. Master often told me that a lack of reciprocation is a lack of proper manners. After receiving so many gifts, I should return the favor. Take these. Fairy Ming Hao raised the intensity of her attacks. The attacks came in waves. They were hard to block. Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch and Xiao Hejian had to use their full strength to defend and retreat at the crucial moment. A muddy yellowish light shot out and blocked most of the attacks, helping Fang Yuan's subordinates stabilize their footing. It was Lu Weiyin who had helped. Fairy Ming Hao casted her gaze and smiled. You are the current generation Paradise Earth's inheritor? You finally showed yourself. Lu Weiyin frowned deeply, bowing at Fairy Ming Hao. Greetings to Fairy Ming Hao. I wonder what is your relationship with star constellation Immortal Venerable? Fairy Ming Hao blinked cheekily. Make a guess. Saying so, she stretched out her tiny finger and pointed at Lu Weiyin. Boom! A 5-pointed starlight speck shot out with intense speed. Once it was activated, it arrived before Lu Weiyin. Lu Weiyin's expression did not change. He did not dodge either. The starlight speck arrived before him and got blocked by a yellowish light wall. Turning into nothingness, Lu Weiyin sensed something from this as he raised his brows, saying with peculiarity, Carefree Wisdom Heart? Chapter 2160, Book Mountain. Chapter 2160, Book Mountain. You are quite perceptive. Fairy Ming Hao smiled. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Around her, starlight specks continued to shoot out towards Lu Weiyin. Lu Weiyin flew up against the attack and started to engage in battle. Initially, he was able to fight evenly with Fairy Ming Hao. But soon, he started to get suppressed. Fairy Ming Hao only used the flying stars to attack her enemy. Initially, she shot out the flying stars one by one. But soon, they started to shoot out in groups of 3, 5, or even 10 at once. The power of her flying stars did not increase, but Lu Weiyin faced increased pressure when they landed on him. These flying stars are very profound. This seems to be an endless consecutive move. I am going to face greater and greater pressure as time passes. Lu Weiyin had a grim expression as he felt fatigue in defending himself. Both sides only fought for some time. Lu Weiyin had to retreat as he fought. Fairy Ming Hao had the complete advantage. Each time she waved her hand, a large cloud of fragmented starlight specks flew out. Each time the stars shot out, their quantity rose. They were already over 100 in number. Starlight shined as the stars moved in the air. The sound of air getting pierced was unceasing. It was a dazzling sight. This Ming Hao cultivates wisdom path and star path. She definitely has pseudo-venerable battle strength. I should retreat for now. Lu Weiyin had intentions of retreating. Fang Yuan also gave out orders to retreat at the appropriate time. Ice Crystal, Immortal Monarch, and the rest let out a sigh of relief as they quickly backed out. Fairy Ming Hao smiled. You all came here to seek death. Why don't you stay here for good? Fairy Ming Hao attacked the immortals. Don't even think about it. Lu Weiyin blocked her. Fairy Ming Hao chuckled. A mysterious light flashed in her eyes, shooting towards Lu Weiyin's forehead. Lu Weiyin felt an indescribable change in his mind. He only had the capacity to store up half of his original thoughts at the same time. When his thoughts moved, they became much faster, but each time, they would stop preemptively. It seemed like all of his remaining thoughts became rash. They collided impatiently, trying to deduce the results more quickly. Lu Weiyin fell into a predicament immediately. When using killer moves, he needed to mobilize thoughts. The more killer moves he used, or the more complex they were, the more thoughts he would need to use. But now that he had only half his thoughts left, he could not think as easily as before. More importantly, even when these thoughts collided, they would resolve in advance. He could not get the most useful result that he wanted. This was quite fatal. Once Lu Weiyin's thoughts end preemptively when he activates a killer move, towards the end when he prepares his killer move, it would end up in failure. With the killer move activation failing, Lu Weiyin would suffer a heavy backlash himself. Such an incredible wisdom path method. Lu Weiyin was helpless. He could only defend himself. He could not care about the rest. Fairy Ming Hao grasped the absolute advantage. She immediately ordered the rank 8 Gu Immortals of the Sacred Mountain to move out and chase after Fang Yuan's subordinates and kill them. Ice Crystal, Immortal Monarch, and Xiao Hejian retreated with huge losses. Along the way, they lost 9 Gu Immortals, among which 3 were rank 8 Gu Immortals. The immortal apertures of these Gu Immortals landed on the ground and got absorbed by Green Lotus Great World. Their immortal Gu were also quickly dissolved. When the Gu Immortals died, their obsession was left behind, but Fang Yuan did not see the birth of any land spirit or heavenly spirit. After Fang Yuan's subordinates returned to Yellow Earth Great World, Fairy Ming Hao judged the situation and stopped her advances. Lu Weiyin led the immortals to meet Fang Yuan. Ice Crystal, Immortal Monarch, and Xiao Hejian quickly knelt down and sought for forgiveness, but Fang Yuan consoled them amicably. This loss is not your fault. I could tell clearly that this Fairy Ming Hao had outstanding strength. She possesses pseudo-venerable battle strength. To think that this place could nurture an expert of such a level. Ice Crystal, Immortal Monarch, and the rest were relieved. They started to calm down. While retreating, they were all worried that Fang Yuan would be enraged and kill them all to vent his anger. After that, Fang Yuan sent out these Gu Immortals to be stationed at all the various defense lines of Yellow Earth Great World. The emphasis of their defense was on the boundary and connection points of Yellow Earth Great World and the 2 other Great Worlds, Green Lotus Great World and Savage Wilderness Great World. I am ashamed to think that Heavenly Court actually has such a female immortal. She possesses an incredible combat system. I am not her match. Lu Weiyin said with an expression of guilt. Fang Yuan also consoled him. Fang Yuan knew that Lu Weiyin had already used his full strength at this point. After all, in the previous fight, he had worked with Lu Weiyin to fight against Spectral Soul and Heavenly Court. It was a near-death situation. During that time, Lu Weiyin had no way of concealing his strength if he wanted to live. When fighting against Fairy Ming Hao, Lu Weiyin had already used all of the methods that Fang Yuan knew he had. Yet, he was still not the enemy's match. Since this is war, there will be sacrifices. Maybe in the future, you and I might lose our lives too. This is the world of the Gu Immortals. We do not need to harp on it. Fang Yuan was quite satisfied with this result. The conclusion was that Fang Yuan's losses were smaller than Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven. This was considered a victory. Furthermore, Ice Crystal, Immortal Monarch, and Xiao Hejian even forced someone like Fairy Ming Hao to take action. Fang Yuan gained useful information about her. Fang Yuan nurtured Gu Immortals for the purpose of sacrificing them to begin with. If these cannon fodder could display their value, it would not be his loss. The biggest pity is that Lord Fang Yuan lost many immortal Gu. Lu Weiyin added. But now, Northern Plains Paradise Earth true inheritance is right before us. Lord might have something to gain from it. Lu Weiyin was referring to Paradise Earth's sacred tomb. Even without his explanation, when Fang Yuan sent him on this mission, he had already done his investigations. The tomb of Paradise Earth contains extraordinary profundity. I have not gotten any useful leads yet. Fang Yuan said frankly before asking, "Do you know anything?" Lu Weiyin smiled bitterly. "I am ashamed. I know nothing about it." Fang Yuan nodded and said, "The wisdom path killer move that hit you earlier was the key that resulted in your loss. What do you think about it?" This wisdom path killer move was too powerful. Since it was exposed already, Fang Yuan wanted to create a counter for it. Lu Weiyin thought about it and said with uncertainty, "It seems that the core immortal goo of that move is pride goo." Fang Yuan nodded again. "That is what I deduced as well." Lu Weiyin took in a deep breath of cold air. Fairy Minghao is not a simple person. She possesses the carefree wisdom heart physique. She also has humility goo and pride goo. This reminds me of the description within the Legends of Rinzhu. According to what I know, there is no such person in the history of Heavenly Court, and she seems to have a deep connection with star constellation Immortal Venerable. The Legends of Rinzhu, Chapter 5, Section 35 states, Rinzhu, in great strength, true martial, went through great hurdles and finally arrived before Qiankuan Crystal Wall. Qiankuan Crystal Wall was straight and stood upright in the void. It was like a huge mirror that reflected everything that happened in the world. Rinzhu, in great strength, true martial, went inside Qiankuan Crystal Wall. Numerous flowers, birds, fish, and insects converged into a colorful, dazzling shadow that filled great strength, true martial's vision. The sound of the waves, thunder, and birds singing in his ears rippled together. There was a fresh, sweet, exciting, spicy taste dancing on his tongue. At times, he felt like he was walking on a steep mountain path. At other times, he felt like he was swimming in the waves. And at other times, he felt as if he was falling from a great height. "Father, Father, where are you?" Great strength, true martial shouted. But Rinzhu could not hear great strength, true martial. He could not see great strength, true martial. The color of white filled his vision. It was boundless and vast. "Oh, son, where are you?" Rinzhu sprinted, wanting to find great strength, true martial. Rinzhu ran and ran and ran. After a long time, he saw a black dot at the furthest point within his vision. Initially, he felt happy and thought it was great strength, true martial. But when he approached the black dot, he found that it was actually a huge mountain. This mountain was very special. The mountain rocks and vegetation were made of white paper. The streams and waterfalls were made of black ink. This was Book Mountain, at the foot of Book Mountain. There was a village with many ink men living in it. Rinzhu went into the village, causing a huge commotion to arise. "This is really a rare sight." The inkmen spoke. When ordinary life forms enter Qiankuan Crystal Wall, they would get lost after a few steps. They cannot resist the allure of the material world or the countless temptations within it. They can never reach here. You are the first person to arrive here. Rinzhu was confused. "Why so?" The Inkman elder replied. "O human, you are only left with a skeleton. You cannot see, hear, taste, smell, or touch. It allowed you to roam Qiankuan Crystal Wall freely without losing your life." Qiankuan Crystal Wall existed when the world was first created. It reflected everyone and everything. It contained all the secrets of the world's past and present. Once a person enters it, they would face the barrage of endless information. After some time, they would die from information overload. After Rinzhu heard this, he felt very worried about great strength, true martial. He asked the Inkman elder about the way to survive. The elder thus brought Rinzhu to ascend the mountain. On Book Mountain, there was a largest ink waterfall, and below it was a deep pool. The Inkmen called this pool Literature Spring. The ink waterfall continued to flow as it landed. On the Literature Spring, water splashed about. These black color splashes flew in the air as the water droplets formed into ink texts. If a person wants to continue living in Qiankuan Crystal Wall, the ink text will be your best helper. The reason why we Inkmen can live here is also because of the ink text. The Inkman elder told Rinzhu about this big secret. Rinzhu received the Inkman's advice. He collected a lot of ink texts and left the mountain. Every time he walked for some distance, he would leave behind some ink texts as reference points in this vast world of whiteness. The pitch-black ink text became very conspicuous. Even though ink texts faded over time, using them, Renzu no longer walked on unnecessary trails. He eventually found Great Strength True Martial. Great Strength True Martial received Renzu's ink texts. Every step he walked, he would leave behind some ink texts. The ink texts recorded the information that barraged Great Strength True Martial, turning them all into pieces of literary work. These literary pieces turned into pieces of tiles that were layered below Great Strength True Martial's feet. Great Strength True Martial was finally free. His eyes were not blurry. His ears were not buzzing. He could no longer smell the mix of countless fragrances as well. Stepping on these tiles, he followed Renzu back to the Inkman village. Renzu asked the Inkman elder again, "Oh elder, how can I find wisdom goo inside Qian Kuan crystal wall?"